Hey, just a quick thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel. We just could not do an independent year-round college football show without you, so thank you.
Welcome to the Solid Verbal. And now, Dan and Ty.
Dan Rubenstein, it is time for an annual tradition. Welcome back to the show. How are you, my good friend?
I'm terrific. I'm very excited for this. I spoke with my agent. I think we're going to get a great landing spot for my team. I don't know what any of that means. This is Fantasy Things. This is the best. We've done it live in front of studio audiences, and we've done it within the comfort of our own homes, and that's what flavor this year's is. And I'm very excited to do Fantasy Things for 2026 because I know no matter what kind of ridiculous items that we draft, things that are either tropes, and we'll explain what Fantasy Things is. I know no matter what we draft, however ridiculous the ways that we think about this sport, that the sport is going to out-ridiculous anything we can conjure up.
That's right.
There was no possibility that you or there was no possibility that you or I could have come up with last season, by the end of the year, a major college football coach will have been caught messaging OnlyFans models shortly before kickoff. And now, that was like the least serious of the accusations, obviously.
Sure.
And now, I have to think to myself, well, what's the next step when it comes to coaches or players or staff members as it relates to messaging OnlyFans models before kickoff? That's where my brain has to go because this is the silliest and best sport of them all.
It really is, as we've said time and again. It is the only sport in this country where one of the biggest teams is represented by a giant nut.
Correct.
That is what we've got here today. We, of course, are a college football show. This is probably the least serious version of the college football show that we do every season. I went back deep into the archives to see when we actually started this concept. I believe it was the year of our Lord, 2015.
That sounds right. Which, by the way, if this is the least serious college football episode we'll do, in a way, that makes it the most college football episode that we will do.
I believe that's accurate. I believe that's accurate. Now, somewhere along the way, there was at least a year or two where we did not do Fantasy Things. So for a long time, we did this as sort of our primary concept whenever we were doing a live show. I miss doing this as a live show.
Yeah.
I miss doing this as a live show. It was great to just do it in front of people and have everybody joining in. We will do our part here to make it worthwhile over the next hour or so. If you are new here, please rate, review, and subscribe. You're going to hear me pushing verballers.com pretty hard over the next week and a half or so as we try to get people in the door to play our games, vote in our polls, take advantage of the perks that come along with that. I will talk about that a little bit later.
After the groupie incident at the O2 Arena in 2019, I guess we had to scale back and do things more responsibly. And Ty has obviously issued both a written and audio and video apology for everything that transpired behind the scenes at that arena, and we've moved past it.
Sure. Okay. Fantasy Things. We started this concept, as I said, back in 2015. We did not know that it would catch on in the way that it has. To my knowledge, there have been at least 4 other attempts at a Fantasy Things style episode by other folks over the last year or so, let's say.
Sincerest form of flattery, Ty. Sincerest form of flattery.
Absolutely. I'm just saying I think we do it better because we're the OGs when it comes to Fantasy Things. So we've got
no argument from me.
Our draft bank in front of us. Why don't you explain to the fine people what exactly this is?
We're not drafting players. We're not drafting teams. We're not drafting coaches. We are not predicting winners on this specific episode. What we are doing is selecting things, situations, tropes, things people say, cliches, unreal backwards moments that seem rare, but if they happen to hit, boom. What are the stakes for this? $10,000. Ty, is that the number we agreed on?
We're going to need a sponsor if we want to give away that kind of cash, but sure.
it'll be to each other, right? That who drafts the better team. So we are drafting these sort of situations and things. Our, I think, most notable moment or item that has been drafted is somebody saying that a quarterback who is not Baker Mayfield saying, he's got a little bit of Baker Mayfield in him.
Little bit of Baker Mayfield in him.
A little. You got to go up high on the little. A little bit of Baker Mayfield in him. We've drafted things like touch screens going wrong, where like a studio host. We've drafted, I mean, take your pick. There have been
Strength
so many
coach with the screw loose was a good one.
Strength coach with the screw loose, an unbelievable one.
Yeah.
And we honor and treasure those strength coaches, to be clear. But yeah, it's those silly, fun little moments that separate college football from the sports pack that we. So sometimes, look, it could be like something happening with a punt or something happening with a specific kind of touchdown dance or something like that. Something that is rare, but is a college football thing that we can claim to be our own.
I think that's right. It's also worth noting we've been doing it now for over a decade. We still don't actually have a scoring system. So more than anything else, we're just trying to give you guys something to watch out for. Something else to keep in the back of your mind as you're watching 2026 college football. Just another.
I think the way we can score this is not scoring at all. I think what it is people just tell us what resonates with them, right? That like, which Sex and the City character are you? Which Power Ranger do you identify with? Which, take your pick. Like, there's movie characters that are like, yeah, I've always been like Team Darth or whatever. Team Darth Vader. I don't know. So you tell us, and by that metric, we can say, okay, this is the winning thing that they want to be associated with. A listener wants to be associated with. That's the only thing I can think of.
If nothing more, it gives you something else to watch for. As you said at the top, this is a truly ridiculous sport. It gets more and more ridiculous each time we load up the old Twitter sphere. So why stop now? Why don't we just steer into it? We've been doing it for a while. If you have thoughts on this, leave us a comment wherever it is that you can, wherever it is you consume this episode. solidverbal@gmail.com is also a place you can go if you're interested in sharing your thoughts. Dan, we did have the ping pong balls in front of us earlier, and you drew the very first pick. So would you like to go
first?
Did
I?
You drew the first pick. Yes.
Oh, I have to bring up the bank in front of me then, Di. I think we're jumping right in. Okay, Fantasy Things 2026. I have it in front of me. I did mention that I was pitching, what did I call it? A hand job cutaway?
You did that on the bonus episode. Yeah.
Yeah, that if something sexual was happening in the crowd or something inappropriate was happening in the crowd and a camera person happened to see it, the director quickly cut away. Yeah.
Right. So, we're not going to draft that one.
Okay.
But, Dan Rubenstein, you're on the clock. Let us know your first pick.
All right. With the first pick in the 2026 College Football Fantasy Things draft, I am going to take... Okay, I like this one. I'm taking a coach jokes about asking AI for coaching advice after a game goes horribly wrong. Now, it's pretty good, right? In previous years, we've used like the latest technology to make college football fantasy things joke. I'm going to use, we don't hear a lot from coordinators or position coaches, but you get a coach after an embarrassing loss and he's super down on himself. I'm going to take that coach saying, you know what, maybe next time I need to ask Gemini for how we're running our red zone defense. Do you think that's an overreach at first overall?
No, my bigger question is actually which coach do you think is most apt to do that?
Eli Drinkwitz. And not just because he has glasses, just because he's candid, doesn't beat ranked teams, but gets close a lot.
Right.
And sort of runs a little bit hot. I was also thinking Kenny Dillingham for that reason as well.
Sure.
Because he's always very frank, which I appreciate about him. And so you gotta lean into your coaches that seem the most likely to be apoplectic, $4 word, after giving away a game late. And that there's something about Missouri football that the Venn diagram feels aggressively appropriate there.
I also think you need to consider coaches that are entering the season with varying levels of desperation.
Sure.
There's a whole spectrum there, but you could almost envision a very odd sequence involving Dabo Swinney.
Yep.
You could almost envision something of an odd circumstance involving John Summerall.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of coaches who run hot. I just don't think Dabo is like deep in the Claude game.
Well, I don't know if any of them are, right? Other than Brian Kelly, of course.
I don't think it's going to be Dabo. No offense. Just because as soon as he hears the word Claude, his mind will go to the oldest possible Claude famous person.
Like
I don't even know who that is.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is probably
exactly
where he goes.
Yes, John Claude. Claude. Well, I know John Claude. Yeah. Doing the splits and then just goes on a rant about Time Cop. That
Right.
would be the closest we get to Dabo referencing AI, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have a tendency to bring up the tech thing of the moment. As you said,
Right.
uncontrollable touch screens. We've talked about sudden broadcast outages. We've talked about the late night ESPN camera. You know what I mean? Like the 480p camera that they only give to the Rod Gilmore games.
Always, without fail.
So, yeah, I mean, given the prevalence of this new technology, someone's going to be presented with it, and
Yes.
someone is going to make an odd joke regarding it. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to rule out the fact that it could be Dabo.
I think we'll get a reference to AI from Dabo in that he has no idea what it is, no idea what it does, and he's asked his children or his younger relatives about it, and maybe that's the answer. Like he will reference it without knowing. I fully don't know what it is. So yeah, there it is.
My pick. You ready?
Take it.
My pick is a passive-aggressive James Franklin.
An oldie but a goodie. Every year, James Franklin with a new adjective.
Every
Ty
year.
picks him high.
Every year.
Yeah.
Year. He is the Fantasy Things draft pick that keeps on being draftable. Each year, we just, as you said, we alter the modifier and we pick them all over again. James Franklin, at least within this concept, is sort of the gift that keeps on giving. I think we've already seen this a little bit in his time at Virginia Tech. It is very clear, if you have listened to any of his preseason comments, that even though he has not come out and said as much, very clear that James Franklin does not like the way things went down at Penn State.
Right.
Can't
Well, it's also a good pick because the transition happened so quickly. He became the Virginia Tech head coach during the same season in which he was the Penn State coach. So he didn't have time to sit and meditate on how everything went wrong at Penn State. So he's still in that waiting pool.
I think that's right. And I mean, I thought of going a couple different directions with this.
Yeah.
The other contender was James Franklin accidentally starts talking as if he is still the coach at Penn State. Kind of loses track of where he is. But I thought the passive aggressiveness inevitably would be there throughout the course of the year. Again, he's sort of made no bones about the fact he didn't like the way things went down at the end of his tenure. I can't say I blame him in that regard, but never underestimate the ability of a coach, of a proud coach, to show a little bit of passive aggressiveness, whether it's with regard to the old location that he was coaching, whether it's in regards to a coaching decision that people in the media or otherwise question, whether it's just something minute. These guys, as I think has been previously documented, are sort of control freaks, and anything that veers from the norm tends to ruffle some feathers. So
Yeah.
I think a passive-aggressive Franklin is what we're going to get this year. Hopefully on the Virginia Tech side, they get like an 8-4 or a 9-3 season. That would be better than any kind of passive aggressiveness. But I think Franklin probably comes out of the gate. Pretty good start. Schedule seems advantageous. If we're going to see it, we're likely going to see it early in the middle of some sort of, I don't know, momentous start to the year, or we're going to see it later because the schedule's backloaded, and that's when things might come off the swivel.
I agree. There is definitely the vibe of James Franklin at any moment, even though he's been out of the relationship for quite some time now. He's like, oh, I went with my ex to Portugal. I'm like, well, don't bring that up now.
Right.
We're at a dinner party. Everything's been going so well. Yeah, there is that energy to James Franklin that hopefully, for the sake of James Franklin and Virginia Tech fans, he is able to get past it. So I think that's a quality pick.
You're up, Dan.
All right. I'm going with one that I think this is like an upset. This is like the Aaron Rodgers didn't get picked first overall or in the top 5. I think this is like a shame it's even fallen this far to the top 3. You're able to recite a political ad that's airing too much verbatim and hate yourself for it. So, not political commentary here, but we do have the midterms this fall, correct?
Correct.
It does seem like a contentious time of year, correct? For a lot of people.
That is accurate, yes.
There is going to be something that, like, 2 weeks into the season, we're all going to agree that we would spend $100 to put a special tier of YouTube TV in place that would just filter the political ads out of. I'm not saying politics aren't important. I'm not saying government's not important. I'm saying the political ads that run over and over and over again, especially if you're in like Pennsylvania, say, right? That like it's a purple state and there's just a lot of emotion surrounding elections that you're just going to be able to like mouth along with. Trisha Clark says sourdough is too ethnic for Pennsylvania. You know, that kind of stuff. So we are slowly going to be driven insane. And so being driven insane by political ads during college football games is my third overall pick in an election year.
So there were 2 other directions I thought maybe we could go with this.
Oh, okay.
The first was a politician trying to use college football as some sort of campaign boost and then immediately screwing up one of the references.
Yes.
And like, I would say the Mount Rushmore of this was it Ted Kennedy back in the day with the Sammy Sousser and Mike McGuire moment during the home run chase?
We had an Iowa one recently.
We did.
Because Iowa's obviously, you know, with the presidential election,
yeah.
It's a hotly contested battleground primary type state. Yeah.
So there's that whole side of it. I also thought of like the political figure jinxing a college football team, which is also something that we could see because inevitably there will be an attempt at photo ops using college football as a photo op to show that you're really with the boys of the home school. Right. So, but that being said, I do think the political ads is something that's going to attack a lot of us here just because it's the midterms, but also because of the streaming nature of television right now.
Right.
I don't know about you. I get ads from all sorts of places that I don't live.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So do I.
Like I think last time around, I was getting ads for like the greater Chicago area. And I don't know if it's because somehow like Google knows that you and I work together, what it is. But
I assume, yeah.
But inevitably, you're going to get ads from other states that you have no business voting in. And that only adds insult to injury. It's bad enough to get the ones in your local district. It's even worse if you're getting ones from states that you have nothing to do with.
Yeah. Like, well, I can see that things are running hot in Montana. There's not much I can do to weigh in with the electoral process, with the election process. So, yeah, I can't wait to change channels during political ads.
It is going to be insufferable.
Yeah, I agree.
Insufferable, and it's going to start right out of the chute.
Mm-hmm.
Week 1, we're going to start dealing with it.
Trisha Clark, the worst. That was a name I made up. What did I say? Trisha Clark says sourdough's too ethnic for Pennsylvania.
Right.
Don't know what any of those words mean.
All right, my turn.
Yes.
Dan Rubenstein, are you aware of this ongoing promotion out at Akron?
Oh, yeah. The offensive coordinator, there's a raffle?
There is a raffle. They are
right, and Joe Moorhead is involved, yes?
They are apparently giving away to one lucky person, one lucky season ticket holder, the opportunity to help design the opening drive.
So this is call it in the moment or game plan ahead of time?
That I don't know.
It's unclear. Okay.
Unclear. But at least among the 9 finalists that have been publicly revealed, one of them is Big Cat from over at Barstool. Pardon my take.
Saw that.
The other is, as people who play the video game know, a video game influencer of sorts, Bordeaux.
Okay.
As I understand it, there is still one that is yet to be revealed. But whoever wins that promotion is going to get the opportunity to, as they have said, design the opening drive.
Correct. Yeah.
I like this promotion. This is
I'm going to watch the hell out of the first Akron game now.
This has always been like the fever dream of dorks like us.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're doing it, probably means that they're trying to drum up a little bit of support for the Akron Zips. Okay, great.
Why not? Great.
But I want to draft Akron scoring on their first promotional drive of the season.
I like this a lot, Ty.
Because it gives us something to root for. You'll notice as we go through all of these, we're not necessarily calling out things that we want to root against teams. We're not rooting for people to get hurt or anything crazy. Sometimes the broadcast mistakes are fun to root for.
Yes, definitely.
But other than that, generally we're rooting for teams, not against them. And I just feel like Akron's been kind of down on its luck as a football program for a good long time now. The fact that they are drumming up support like this at all is probably an indicator of that. But I love this idea, and I just want to root like hell for them to score points. Any points on that opening drive.
Well, you know what the problem is, though, right? Because I think Joe Moorhead is the offensive coordinator as well as the head coach, correct?
Right.
I believe so. That's what I'm seeing on their website. The problem then is if they score on that opening drive and they score like in an efficient way, then there's going to be an uproar of like, well, what are we paying you for, Mr. Moorhead?
Yeah, then Big Cat's going to have a decision to make, right?
What exactly would you say you do here?
Do you stick with PMT or do you become the new OC?
Right. That's the problem. No, I'm rooting for it. That game now becomes, or at least that drive becomes must watch.
What play would you call? Because
well, you want
my concern is that if it were me, my concern is, well, I'm only ever going to get this opportunity once, unless it goes really well, to your point. But in all likelihood, this is a one-time deal. There is definitely going to be an inclination to try and call like the quirkiest play possible,
you
just to
leave your
say
stamp. Yeah,
that you left your stamp on things. So, whereas it might make more sense to be a little conservative, run the football, kind of build into the game. If it were me, I'd want to call like a flea flicker or a reverse or something of that nature right out of the chute just to see if we can like, jolt something loose.
Yeah, you gotta figure out some way to have a shot built into the game plan in that drive, right? You want that shot. I would do fake orbit motion. I always feel like I enjoy watching, like just from an aesthetic standpoint, the fake, like the orbit motion is real, right? But the fake where like the quarterback pseudo turns his back to the defensive line and take a shot, or at least an intermediate look, because you'll have, perhaps some linebackers sucking in. That would be my signature move in my opening drive. Orbit motion fake.
I do like some good orbit motion. What you're basically describing is Andy Kotelnicki will probably see that to some extent at Kansas this year.
Sure.
But it's going to be much watched TV.
So basically, if you, even knowing that they're ready for a trick play, you design something with the Akron coaching staff that's so perfect and so foolproof in a shot way, and you score on the first play of the game, right? That for some, the clouds break perfectly, and it's a perfect situation. Score immediately.
Yeah.
And you have called one college play, and you're hitting 1,000 in terms of scoring touchdowns. It's the most legendary possible outcome.
All right, you're up.
All right. With my next Fantasy Things pick, I'm going to select a rugby-style punter says screw it and keeps running. You talk about using orbit motion as a fake where the quarterback kind of turns his back, puts the ball the small of his back before chucking it downfield. Just from a purely aesthetically pleasing moment, I don't know if I love anything more than the punt coverage team, or the punt return team, excuse me. Like, all right, well, he's going to kick it now. We're turning our back to, start blocking for the return. And the punter's like, well, I guess there's 3 yards to be had. I love that so much.
And it feels like this happens every Saturday.
Has to be rugby style. Cannot be a clear fake punt on a normal formation. It has to be a rugby style in which the punter is empowered that if you see nothing but grass, you have the ability to keep going.
What would be the downside to getting like a former track athlete in there as your punter? Just for situations like this.
I mean, it would make it very obvious that you're going to be calling fake punts all the time, right?
But I'm saying, like, there has to be some crossover. We're talking about high-level athletes. If you're talking about world-class track and field stars.
Right.
There has to be some cutover or some crossover between people who can run a 4.4 and people who can also kick a ball, you know, with relative efficiency down the field. I'm not talking about Reggie Roby out there, but I'm talking about like just somebody who can be sufficient as a punter. Maybe you've got a long punter and you've got a short punter,
right? Just
depending on how far you're trying to kick the ball. But like, I feel like there's room to grow on that front because it's open. I feel like it's open every week when I watch these games.
I think you're shortchanging the skill it takes to be an excellent punter.
I'm sure I am. But wouldn't you rather get the first down?
I would rather get the first down. I would love to have the most inventive special teams unit in all of college football. But this is also like a little bit of, yes, he is an amazing thrower of the javelin. But what if? What if he was also a nose tackle?
Right.
That they're very specific disciplines to be able to run a 4.4 and to punt it into the coffin corner.
This is true.
So I think what you're probably your best bet is taking the punter you have and putting them. I mean, you don't want to risk it, right? You know, screwing up a hamstring or something. Putting them in an off-season speed program.
Right.
You don't need a 4.4.
Right.
You just need to get to the sticks.
That's right.
So taking a punter who runs a 5.3 and getting them to a 4.9, I feel like is probably a pretty big win.
Okay, so which picks do you have so far?
So far, I think political ads.
Yeah.
I have AI coaching advice jokingly after getting embarrassed, and then a rugby-style punter says screw it and keeps running.
And I've got a passive-aggressive James Franklin and Akron scoring on their first drive promotion. I'm up for my third pick.
Please take it.
Okay. While we're speaking of things in the MAC.
Okay.
There is potentially a very uncomfortable situation that's going to occur on College Game Day a little bit later on this year. To be exact, October the 24th.
October the 24th, game day. Walk me through what you're seeing.
As you know, there is a new situation in the MAC this year. You got new teams, right? NIU left. They went to the Mountain West. Sacramento State, a traditional MAC team, now joining the conference officially.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about this in the run-up to the season, especially after this latest batch of minor conference realignment became a thing. There's going to be a little game between Ball State and Sacramento State. I've got here the game day set falls silent after Pat McAfee extols the virtues of the Ball-Sac game.
Oh, first of all, you know it won't fall silent. You know Desmond Howard is going to absolutely lose his mind. Desmond Howard, love him, don't care for him. I happen to like him a lot. He will sell your joke. He will 100% sell a goof. If he has the spidey sense that a goof has been put out into the universe on the game day set, like a good teammate that he is, he will sell your goof.
There is nobody else on this set that is willing to touch the specific phrasing of the Ball-Sac game. And you can love Pat McAfee. You can hate Pat McAfee. You can believe Pat McAfee is wildly overexposed.
Sure.
You can be like his ESPN comrades and maybe
I disagree.
think otherwise.
I want more McAfee.
Sure you
I want him hosting Wheel of Fortune.
I mean, he might be doing the Super Bowl halftime show at this rate, but
I want him singing national anthems multiple times a week, baseball games, NBA, WNBA, various college sports that don't usually have a singer brought in for the national anthem. McAfee it up.
Whatever your opinion of Pat McAfee,
yeah,
there is no one else on that set who is going to sell the Ball-Sac game quite like Pat McAfee. And there is virtually no stopping him from doing so, especially given the fact that ESPN is putting him on all the time. He is the mascot for ESPN at present. So it's going to get a little weird when he brings this up and not only brings it up, but celebrates it before the live audience, the live crowd that's going to be loving it because they're all 18 to 22-year-olds. Nothing like that. And then a bunch of older gentlemen on set not knowing how to react.
All right. I have some good news and bad news, Ty.
Okay.
The good news is there is a testicular cancer awareness month.
Okay.
The bad news is it's April. And we got to figure out how to get the testy people in on this matchup.
Right. Are there testy people that we're aware of?
I mean, whoever's, of course, there's researchers, there's organizations raising money, I'm sure.
Is there an American Foundation of Urologists or something?
I am positive there is, Ty. We have to steer into this for good, for good reasons, okay? Right. That's all I'm suggesting here. April. I wonder how they landed on that. Okay.
This is going to happen. This isn't at all a stretch. This is 1,000% going to happen. Yeah. And so I just want to get it on your radar so that when October the 24th comes around, you're
Do you think that it would cost us an exorbitant amount of money to sponsor a Ball-Sac trophy? I don't even know if these trophies have sponsors. Could we produce a trophy? Do we have the budget?
No.
I can already tell you the answer is absolutely not.
We definitely do not have the budget.
Could we cajole a trophy company to get a little bit of free buzz on the solid verbal in exchange for making a Ball-Sac trophy for this matchup?
Solidverbal@gmail.com. Hit us up.
That's exactly right.
If you're a trophy company, if you're on Etsy, I don't know. It needs a trophy. It does need a trophy.
Would it be a trophy? I'm open to all different possibilities here.
I'm assuming it looks like truck nuts. That's sort of my vision for what the trophy looks like. But
I agree, but we're not really highlighting the balls in this situation, right?
Right.
I feel like we're highlighting the sack. So is there like a bag? Is there a bronzed bag?
I'm sort of at a loss for words. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know where to go with this next.
Ty, I can give you some explanations physiologically about what we're talking about.
I'm sure you can.
So the scrotum, Ty.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
All right.
Why don't you just make your pick? What do you got,
on, Ty?
You pick one. Just be ready for that because he's gonna do something with that.
All right. I have in here as my next pick, Wirecam incident. Now, I feel like I've drafted this before. My brain goes to a certain place all the time. I also have in here, like, you should be able to tell me because you're a historian of the fantasy things. I have in here Wirecam incident, and I also have in here announcer stomach disruption.
Oh,
I feel like I've drafted these before, but I can't remember. I'm old and washed. Which do you think I'm less likely to have drafted in years past?
I don't think you've done the announcer stomach disruption.
Okay. It's entirely possible I have, though. You know how my mind works.
And I don't believe we've had Wirecam incident either.
Because we've had Wirecam incidents.
We have.
In the sport.
We have.
Notably
I don't think it's ever actually been something we've drafted, though.
Okay. I do love it, though. I love a Wirecam incident as long as nobody's getting hurt.
Right.
I do love an announcer stomach disruption, not because I appreciate the disruption, but I think it humanizes, the big voice from on high. And so, like, we all deal with stomach disruptions, Ty. Is there a stomach disruption awareness month? Unclear.
I feel like it's been going on the last 2 months now.
That's true. But we've seen it in years past. We saw it with, I thought we saw it with Mac Brown when we first became friends with Adam Amin, but it turned out he just had to fly back to New York in order to do the studio show the next day.
Right.
But I think we saw it with the Kentucky Derby this year, right?
Yep.
We saw it with a horse racing situation, and I want to say we saw it with the Fox booth in the last couple years.
Right.
That, like, Brady Quinn had to step in, or somebody stepped in. Who stepped in?
I think it was Brady Quinn, yeah.
Brady Quinn stepped in. Oh, man. I like it because it's just like, whoa, what's going on back there?
Also because it's not you.
And it's not me. But isn't that the whole thing? Like we talked to Jenny Dell and she talked about Brad Nessler not eating the day of games.
Got to be careful.
Simply to avoid stomach disruption. I like the wild card that it throws into a broadcast.
All right, my turn.
Please.
I have alternate uniforms make a game virtually unwatchable.
Well, this is like a weird time for you, too, because the Alabama-Tennessee announcement, right?
Yeah, they're doing
How
the
are your
color
eyes
game.
going to deal with that?
Color game. So this might just be me and my weird eyes, but I have a real hard time distinguishing shades. And in particular, see, I'm sure we have eye doctors out there who can explain exactly what's going on with the rods and cones here.
Right.
I also have trouble anytime there's like a deep red uniform with a green background. And so it used to be really funny when I'd be playing like video games with the boys back in the day when I was younger and full of life and had fewer gray.
Right.
Whenever it was a situation like that where there was a red uniform, green field on the screen, those guys looked invisible to me.
Would those people, would they intentionally choose to play, oh, like, I guess I'm going to be Rutgers?
Once they figured it out, yeah. Once they figured it out.
I guess there's a lot of red teams, but who would have the most red-on-red uniform?
So
Arkansas,
we've had that. We've also had versions of like when Oregon has the green on the green, and it
Baylor,
sometimes makes it difficult. Boise with the blue and the blue, like we see situations like this, but alt uniforms are very much still the rage.
Mm-hmm.
My hunch is that there will be a situation like this because there is a situation like this virtually every year where some team comes out there with alt uniforms, and for me and my weird eyes, I can't watch it. It gives me a headache. But I would say for more normal people out there, the uniforms are just so damn ugly and they don't really pop on TV the way you would expect that you just decide you don't want to watch that. You have 7 other games going on at the same time. Why waste your energy on the one where you don't like what you see?
Right.
So the alt uniform thing, there's 2 sides to it. I like the fact that they're getting creative. I like the fact that they give us something different to look at. Mm-hmm. Also, there's a very thin line to walk there. So you got to be careful. And I think the alt uniform making a game unwatchable is going to be sort of my ace in the rotation this year.
I got to be honest with you. There have been so many misses with alt uniforms that I don't look forward to the debut of a new look all that much. And I know I'm an Oregon human here, but Oregon just does the combos thing. And they do some alt stuff occasionally. And they do like a breast cancer awareness. They'll do pink stuff. But a lot of the goofy alts sort of fall under my like too cute a clock. Like dial back a little bit. Like I like the space thing with you. Dial it back a little bit. Like they're like I never really loved the Illinois leather helmet thing that they did for Red Grange, the Galloping Ghost. I was like, it never really did it for me. And now everybody's freaking out and so happy about the Alabama Tennessee thing where they're going to wear red and orange.
Yep.
Right? Nobody's going to wear white in that game. And I understand the history of it because it's going back to black and white TVs, an easier way to differentiate teams. A team is wearing white, a team is wearing, a darker color. I like watching games with a team wearing a color and a team wearing white. It's still easy for me to differentiate.
Right.
Red and orange, like UCLA and USC, I kind of get when they've done that in years past, because it's blue and cardinal, like they're different enough. Orange and red are not different enough. That's same phylum, that's same genus. And I don't have the rods and cones issue that you have, but when I see those two teams wearing red and orange playing against each other, I think it looks mushy. I don't like it. Anyway, I'm 1,000 years old. That's the end of my high horse moment.
We could even add in alt uniform decisions in the case of this.
Sure.
Case of the color game. Yeah. You're up.
All right. So this is another very exciting one for me, Ty. And it's not just because of where I live, although maybe that has a factor in me selecting this. We've long talked about monsoon games and snow games. I think the great underrated game in this sport, parenthetically, unless your team is playing in it, is an excessively windy game.
Oh, like in the playoff last year. Like
in the playoff last year?
Texas A&M Miami.
If I were an A&M fan, if I were a Miami fan, that was the worst. If I were an Ohio State fan when they were playing, it was Northwestern. It was here, right? When there were crazy swirling winds and CJ Stroud threw for like 41 yards in a game. I would hate it. But from a pure entertainment standpoint, I don't know why I'm so hung up on special teams today, Ty. A punter punting it into a wall of wind and it going 1.5 yards net. I kind of love those moments. I kind of love when there are factors at play, and I know people will complain that, like, well, that's not, the intention of football. And we had, people talking about the snow stuff and the weather stuff with, what was it, Broncos playoff game this past year?
Yep.
That, like, oh, these big games should be played in domes, which I understand that. And I talked about that I understood that, take some of those elements out of it. But there is something about wind and a windy punt that I just can't get past that I love so much. So I'm going to say an excessively windy game, unless it involves your team.
Unless it involves your team. Yeah, we don't want that.
Do you appreciate wind or do you hate wind?
Oh, I hate wind. It's the worst. I'd rather play in rain. I'd rather play in snow.
Yeah.
But the wind is just such an X factor. At least if it's raining, you can kind of deal with that. And everyone's got to deal with the same type of rain throughout the course of the game. Same deal with snow, right? But wind, it shifts, it changes. Sometimes the intensity varies. It absolutely kills the kicking game. It can kill the passing game. It just feels like there are bigger ramifications with a crazy wind game than there would be otherwise. And I think back to the playoff game from a year ago, and I know, just like speaking for myself here, when we were trying to put that A&M game, A&M against Miami, the 10-3 game in the playoffs, when we were trying to put that game in context, and then I would say, furthermore, figure out what does it mean or what does it indicate for this coming season. Yeah. I was almost inclined to throw that one out the window. I know Marcel Reed didn't have a great game. Also, that win was nuts. So we need to be careful about how much weight we put on a game like that, even though it was a very big deal in the moment. I just don't know if it's any great indicator of skill.
I totally agree with you. Here's my counter, Ty. Let's take any game from is Virginia playing Pitt this year? I have no idea. Is Virginia playing Pitt? You want to fact check for this?
I'll fact check.
Okay. Take an ACC game, take whatever, a Big 12 game, take an SEC, any game where you don't have a rooting or financial interest or something.
Virginia does not play Pitt this year.
Okay, give me a random, who does Virginia play in late October?
In late October, Virginia plays, let's see here.
Yeah.
They've got a game against...
I don't know why we're picking on Virginia.
Duke.
Okay, Virginia-Duke, a rematch of the ACC championship game. Let's say Bo Pribula is under center or he's whatever. It's a pitch play. And he pitches it, and the exact moment he pitches it, a gust of wind takes it. And doesn't just take it. It's Bo Pribula in the red zone for Virginia.
Right.
It doesn't just take it. It takes it all the way to the other end of the field.
Okay.
It's just rolling comically.
Yeah.
Okay, this is 1 in a billion.
Yeah.
Okay? You could not dial it up better. But the ball is rolling, the wind is pushing it right down the middle of Broadway, right down the middle of the field. And all of a sudden, you have 20 Virginia and Duke players racing 80 yards to scoop up either a touchdown or just maintain possession. It would be the single most captivating moment of the season. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Like a literal race to get a ball 80 yards away.
Yeah.
It would be the single most captivating moment of the season.
A wind game. Excessively windy game.
Yeah. High ceiling, low floor.
I'm going to take crowd shots of Anthony Becht. This is a very specific one.
It is.
It feels to me like there are some parents that, for whatever reason, get shown a little bit more than others. And I know just from watching a collection of Iowa State games that it seems as though they like showing Rocco Becht's dad, former NFL offensive lineman Anthony Becht. They like showing him a lot.
Yeah.
Up in the stands. And now as he moves to a new team and seemingly is going to be the leader of that offense, they will inevitably show Anthony Becht one more time. If not 1,000 more times.
Yeah.
This coming season. And I just found it funny singling out one single parent that I believe they're going to show more than the rest. And I think Anthony Becht probably has a claim to that throne this year. Now, there are obviously other options.
I was going to say.
Like Cooper Manning would probably like a word.
That was Cooper Manning, and how about Cooper Manning headwear?
Cooper Manning
Not afraid to adorn.
No. So Cooper Manning, probably in this camp. We could probably list off a dozen other quarterbacks that probably also fall into this category. But I kind of hope that someone out there keeps track of these crowd shots and proves me right by the end of the season. I have no idea how you'd ever do it.
Right.
But crowd shots of Anthony Becht, I think, is going to be something worth getting in on now because especially if he has a good campaign, now that he's back and healthy and excited to be at Penn State, taking one online class, I believe, focusing on his football, which is exactly the way we want it. Should be a good year, provided he stays healthy, and they're going to show a lot of Anthony Becht.
I'll stick with you there, just in terms of crowd shots, and we talked about Cooper Manning. For my next pick,
There you go.
How about a new understated Arch Manning commercial with gravitas? No matter the brand.
What does this mean? What does this mean?
Well, there's just something about Arch Manning, and he's not going crazy. He's, he keeps his profile relatively low, but like he's here to tell you about Viore.
So last year we had Warby Parker and we had Viore.
And I think he was also like doing commercials for the NCAA or EA college football too, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. He kind of
so.
held out that he wasn't going to have his name, image, and likeness in it. And it was all kind of a ploy, it seemed, because eventually he was like, not only am I in it, I'm the face of it.
Right.
I don't know why it just sounded like, what's his name from the Andy Griffith Show? Don Adams.
Right.
Yeah. Not Don Adams. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Okay, continue.
There will inevitably be another Arch Manning commercial.
Yes, of course.
I don't know yet
Don
it
Knotts,
is.
excuse me. Got Don. He'll do it for if the check clears. But like I want him to do it for something that he's really going to have to be chill. Like, is he going to do? He won't do gambling, right?
No.
I don't think that's under like. I don't think there's any wagering. I don't know if you can do alcohol as part of NIL stuff. Could Arch Manning be very chill? Could he be very straightforward, very matter of fact when talking about Blue Chew? What if they paid him premium? On the field, I've got a lot of concerns. But when I'm off the field, I don't want to be concerned about anything, especially in my own private time.
Right.
Yeah, I'm Arch Manning, and I'm here to talk to you about Blue Chew. No? He probably is saying thank you, but no thank you to the fine folks at Blue Chew.
I'm assuming he's got some reps that. I mean, he's been very understated. He barely did interviews his first couple of years on campus.
Yeah.
I think they very closely guarded access to Arch Manning and the way that Arch was portrayed. And I think actually it was probably the right concept because he came in there as one of the highest profile college football players, not just in Texas, but throughout the sport. And they were trying to give him a chance to ease into it. And we saw last year, right? First year as a full-time starter. It took a minute for him to actually ease into it and then get better in the latter half of the year. So I don't fault anyone for doing that. But I'm assuming that there is a whole mechanism around Arch Manning that kind of keeps him insulated to the extent that he's been.
Don't forget, though, everybody's got a price. Continue. Okay, next pick.
Where's it at? Okay. I've got an SEC wonk citing draft picks in a college football playoff.
Oh, I like this. Yeah.
So this is up there with the SEC gauntlet, okay?
I mean, SEC gauntlet is like a no-brainer. I could have taken that first overall and won this whole draft.
SEC gauntlet is like the free space in the middle of the bingo card.
Yeah.
I purposely left it off mine. I think you left it off yours as well. But this is like a new category of argument, pro SEC argument that has bubbled up over these last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And what it involves is not teams' records, not strength of schedule. This is an argument that revolves around how many draft picks the SEC places in the NFL. And the argument goes something like, well, it's a tough league. We know that. Well, we know what the record is. But did you know that the SEC had 15 first-round draft picks in the draft class of 2026? And that's the argument for
That's the whole thing.
That's the argument for putting the other SEC team in the playoff.
Yeah.
The SEC's a great conference. One of, if not the best. There's not much debate on that. But I feel like I have seen this argument pop up more and more in recent years. And I mean, you really got to twist your brain in a pretzel to understand how it applies.
It's there's a lot around this. The draft pick thing is great. I don't want to get this wrong, but my brain tells me it was Jim Nagy, formerly of the
Yes.
Senior Bowl, and he's now the Oklahoma.
Yes.
When he was talking about how NFL scouts should have a hand in selecting the college football playoff teams based on the number of NFL prospects on the roster.
Right.
Like, I loved that take so much. And then I think we've had Nick Saban talking about like Vegas should have a role in selecting, the playoff teams because they set odds to figure out, set lines to figure out how we can get, the same number of people and the same amount of money on both sides of a wager.
That's sort of like the old, I think it was Colin Cowherd who made an argument like this back in the day.
Vegas should be in charge.
He's always been plugged in on the Vegas side. Yeah.
Looks like Vegas is in charge now, once again. So, the draft pick things is the funniest thing in the world. So, yeah, I mean, look, you can do SEC Gauntlet, you can do draft picks, whatever it is. I'm old-fashioned in the, winning games thing seems to be a good way to determine which conference is in a better place. But, yeah, the SEC going to 9 games this year is going to be all over the place.
1 or 2 more each?
Let's do it.
What do you got for me?
Folk hero backup quarterback once again. Last year we had Trinidad Chambliss, right?
Right.
Just absolute stud, all-time Ole Miss legend.
Are you treading a little too close to your old school, the backup is better than the starter draft pick?
Because I'm not just saying the backup is better than the starter. I'm saying a starter gets hurt. I'm saying there's some unfortunate situation in which the starter can't go, or the starter is just benched, whatever it is. But it's not only is the backup coming in and is better than the starter, but becomes an absolute legend for that program. Takes them to new heights, or out of nowhere, nobody figured Bird Ficklin at Utah or Tavian St. Clair at Ohio State or any of these guys could come in and make an immediate difference. And then suddenly, this guy's a legend. And we have good candidates, right? Because there's so many quarterbacks back. And, it's financially reasonable to come back to college, even if you have NFL interest. So, I guess it would be Dylan Raiola at Oregon. Keyshawn Henderson at Houston. I think he's the highest ranked recruit in the history. I don't know what Ed Oliver was, but he's definitely the highest ranked quarterback, I believe, in the history of the program to join the Cougars. So, Connor Wigman's been injury prone at times, I would say, is a fair statement to make.
Yeah. Somebody
Coming in and essentially leading their team, at least to the verge of the college football playoff, as a backup quarterback.
I like this.
I want it. I love a good folk hero out of nowhere.
Okay, what do I got here? I've got one here that I just called Nick Saban's high horse.
Oh, this is great too. All season long.
Nick Saban brings a fair amount of gravitas to that game day set as someone who's widely regarded as the best coach in the history of college football. He is a proponent for the game. He has obviously taken part in high-level discussions, not just with other college football coaches, but with the government regarding where this thing goes next. So Nick Saban is much revered. And when you're that revered, you can kind of say whatever you want. And obviously, when you're that successful, you've got opinions on most things. This will inevitably happen a handful of times this year on the game day set. Some other kind of live hit with Nick Saban, or Saban's got something he's got to get off his chest. And whether you like it or not, you're going to hear it. Nick Saban's high horse. I want it on my team.
I mean, that's what he's there for.
That's exactly what he is there for,
he is
specifically.
Filling the equestrian side of things on the game day set.
You're up.
I think we just need to go through what we haven't selected.
All right, go ahead.
There's so much here. So I mentioned the hand job cutaway. I have the phrase, by the way, Handjob Cutaway is playing the Troubadour in 2 weeks. Very experimental, but if you're into them, you will be very into them.
Yeah.
Looks like the honeymoon is over for a coach in his first year. Things going wrong.
Could be another James Franklin situation.
Could be another James Franklin situation.
Okay.
I have a new Lane Kiffin ends up doing old Lane Kiffin stuff, likely in direct messages to and from like an alpha fee pledge.
You should have drafted this one first overall.
I know. There's just so many here. I have Notre Dame elects to accept a postseason invite.
Okay.
A TV network uses AI poorly for graphics. We've seen that all off season long already.
Yep.
A playoff team is outside of the AP top 25. That's not going to happen every week, but that could pay off at the end. A carriage dispute, like, well, you're not going to have Fox unless you call up your local blah blah blah.
Right.
And you're going to miss out on the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I don't know if those deals are up or not. I have a special teams trick play goes horribly wrong, so we can see it was I think a Miami game where you had the guy fainting on punt coverage.
Yeah.
Or I always enjoy like a really bad fake field goal. Anything along those lines, I'm good with. The debut of a new hairstyle.
Oh man, this is. I thought about going with a coach shaving their head.
So it's either coach or player, and like we saw it with like Quinn Ewers, right?
Yeah.
When he cut off the mullet. Obviously, the big one, the will he won't he thing, is the Avery Johnson hair.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I just needed a change. I need a reset. I don't know if he's done that. And then I have a bunch of long shots.
Well, before you get to the long shots here, let me read off some of mine because your long shots are funny as hell.
You've got great ones.
I've got the chain gang gets obliterated.
Love that.
A badly misaligned 1st and 10 line.
Hate that, but love it.
Brian Kelly attempting to be likable.
That's going to be a reality.
Coach having a public beef with his AD, which, by the way, is kind of going on at BYU right now.
That's right. That we're doing more with less.
I have an overly performative eye black situation.
Ooh, what's the next step? What's the next level of innovation with eye black?
Analyst refers to a game as a chess match. What else do I got here? Oh, here, this one actually I think could be really funny. A returning player says that college practice is actually tougher than the NFL.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Another Fran Brown idiosyncrasy. A curious training regimen.
This one's really good.
Like
the right tackle says he eats exclusively liver.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I've got Joey McGuire playing the victim card. I've got Dabo extolling the virtues of the transfer portal.
It's still Dabo.
Yeah, still Dabo. A coordinator fired in September. That's probably going to happen. And then a 2-quarterback formation.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
You also have down here dramatic voiceover from a random celebrity.
Oh,
I can tell you right now, it's not going to be random. It's going to be Bryan Cranston. Because Bryan Cranston will say yes to your voiceover request.
Well, you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's in advance of a big game, and you hear this voice. It's like, I recognize that voice. I don't know. And then Chris Fowler comes back on the screen. It's like, special shout out to Paul Rudd for giving us that voiceover. Like, what's Paul Rudd have to do with South Carolina? But
yeah. Well, the border war at least makes sense. I think he's from Kansas City.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. But
Give me
it always just is going to be Bryan Cranston. Okay, so these are my penny stocks, right? These are not going to happen. But if you feel especially moved to throw a few dollars into this stock because it's singing to you,
right?
I applaud you. Okay,
go ahead.
Lenora Sellers has time in the pocket.
Won't happen.
It's not going to happen.
Won't happen.
But you could buy pretty low.
Okay.
Alabama's able to run the ball. Missouri beats a team in the final AP poll. You stop me when you want to throw 10 to 20 bucks, okay, at one
I think
of these.
Alabama's going to be able to run the ball this year.
Okay.
I do.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Auburn has a boring, reasonably successful season that universally encourages Auburn fans for the future. Nothing's ever boring at Auburn.
No.
John Summerall carries himself in a mostly subtle, reserved manner.
Nope. Keep going.
Billy Napier successfully delegates offensive coordinator responsibilities, this time at JMU. He says he is. We'll see.
Successfully is carrying the load there. Keep going. What else do we got?
A conference will exist that includes the states of Illinois, North Dakota, and Hawaii. Obviously, this exists. Shout out to the Mountain West.
Right.
Notre Dame's schedule turns out to be pretty tricky, actually.
I mean, I hope not. But
related, Marcus Freeman wears sensible, somewhat loose-fitting pants.
Keep going. Won't happen. Won't happen.
No major program has issues with players driving too fast.
Never.
Bill Belichick is newly single and goes on a tear, destroying the ACC. Like his relationship status was holding him back.
All right, so goes on a tear as a coach or as a single man. What is your implication here?
You know, your mileage may vary. Take your pick, Ty. Take your pick. Newly single Bill Belichick on a college campus.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
USC is led by its defense. A Pat Fitzgerald offense is described earnestly as electric. Arthur Smith and Matt Patricia decide to move in together. I don't know. Maybe their families are living elsewhere and they're just like, let's be roomies.
Sure.
Jed Fish denies interest in an open job, and you kind of believe him?
Mm.
Yes? No?
No, I never believed Jed Fish.
DJ Lagway is the stabilizing force Baylor has been aching for.
I could throw in a few bucks on that.
You would throw in a few bucks.
I didn't say I would. I said I could. I need to think more about it. And it depends how much.
Cody Campbell keeps a low profile.
Next topic.
Oregon seems especially strong in January.
Oh,
Look,
man.
I have to give equal time. I got to be fair here.
Yeah.
That one's, I'll believe it when I see it. Northwestern scores 30-plus points twice or more in Big Ten play.
I mean, I'll throw $10 on that.
It doesn't happen a lot, Ty.
I'll throw $10
I looked at
on
recent
that.
history. Okay.
30 points in Big Ten play.
I think they did it twice in 22 or 23, somewhere in there.
There is nowhere I can bet on that, but I would throw $10 on that in a millisecond.
Tim Brando fully prepares for a game broadcast.
No,
You want to throw any money behind that?
No, keep going.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. A new fast casual food baron booster steps in to keep a coach from leaving. Last year we had Crumble.
Right.
This year it could be, I don't know, somebody who's a franchisee of 44 Hardee's.
Right.
Who's to say?
Right.
NC State does not win between 7 and 9 games.
Does not win.
Yes, so they have to come up with a win total that could be 5, it could be 6, could be 10, could be 11. It cannot be 7, 8, or 9.
Oh, man, I would never put any money on that. And I like NC State this year, but we can't do that. I can't do that to myself.
I have in here an unfounded rumor circulates about a booster's spouse. You know what? That's probably too easy. That's probably a regular fantasy.
I mean, that's
thing.
probably going on right now.
Yes. And then my last one is Kurt Signetti gets milkshake ducked. You understand that
I
reference?
don't understand what that means, but it's funny.
Okay. So milkshake ducked is when somebody becomes famous for a very innocent reason online. And you're like, you remember like the guy who was wearing the red sweater
Yes.
at the they were like debates or town halls or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, turns out his internet history on Reddit, it's real weird, right? So
his name was like Jim Bone or something? Mike Bone?
it sounds right.
Yeah.
The term milkshake duck it comes from like a joke on probably Twitter, who knows, where it's like, look at this duck. He loves drinking milkshakes. And then it's like 6 hours later, well, turns out the duck is a Nazi, right? That like, you can't have anything good and fun and innocent without the other shoe dropping for some reason. And so Kurt Signetti getting milkshake ducked would be like, oh, look at this most incredible story in college football history. Kurt Signetti has led the Indiana Hoosiers to a national championship out of nowhere. And then something comes out about Kurt Signetti. We're like, ooh, yeah, well, that's not as fun anymore.
I jotted down Signetti flaming the new AD from Purdue. Because I don't know if you saw
great.
When they hired the new AD, he had some comment about Indiana.
Right.
Like, and it was like almost implying that Indiana doesn't win at anything. Well, they just won the national championship, obviously. And people online were like, hey, man.
What are you
like,
talking about, dude?
Where do you go with this, bro?
Yeah.
Could definitely see Signetti remembering something like that and just bringing it up at an inopportune time.
Yeah. I think those are all my penny stocks. So you like the Northwestern one.
I do like the Northwestern one, actually.
30-plus points twice against like the most impossible schedule in America.
Of the ones that you read off, I would probably go Alabama able to run the ball.
Yep.
And Northwestern scoring 30 or more points twice in Big Ten play.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably do that one.
I'm excited. Like even NC State going 6-6 or 10-2 is so laughably weird that you're like, I can't get behind any of those.
No.
Either of those.
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
solveverbal@gmail.com is the email address. If you've got any thoughts on these, if you'd like to send us your own fantasy things selections, It does feel a little bit weird not doing this in front of people.
Yeah, true.
It does feel a little bit weird. We do our best with it. We would encourage you to email. Again, let us know what things you're into this coming college football season, what you're going to be watching for. Going out to verballers.com, VERBALLERS.com. I'm going to talk a lot about this over the next 2 weeks. If you head on out there, that is our Patreon. The Patreon is the best way to support this show. It is very important for us in order to keep this show afloat in the manner that it is. So if you want to do that, if you also want to be part of the community, not only playing in our games, voting in our polls, but also getting ad-free episodes, bonus episodes, being part of our Q&As that we often do on there where we kind of throw it out to the Verballerhood to post questions. You can also get it in our Discord server. There's a bunch of stuff. We would encourage you to go and check it out. If it's not for you, that's cool, but VERBALLERS.com is where you can go if you want to learn a little bit more about that.
Agree.
And if nothing more, rate, review, and subscribe. That's all we ask here. We're
no-brainer.
An independent shop. We're getting ready for the season. We'd love to have you with us here as we round the bend into the first weekend of September. Labor Day weekend will be here before you know it. About 2 weeks away, Dan.
Cannot wait. Finally.
For that guy over there, my good friend Dan Rubenstein, for myself over here, Ty Hildenbrand, thank you for partaking in this madness with us. We'll catch you all in a few short days. In the meantime, stay solid.
Peace. Thanks for watching, and thank you for at least considering subscribing to the channel. It means a ton.